morning, afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first Transpicuous news from the land of Oz. And it's not going to be the report that I thought I was going to be doing. No, I actually thought I'd be starting off in a bunch of different stuff. And then there was a little news story dropped in this morning. And I went, oh, snap. Look at that. So we're going to kind of go back in time to a couple of older reports that we did in August of 2015. But first, I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. And I'm going to show you what article we are looking at. I'm going to have to close the chat for this. So here we go, guys. Can you see this? Big news story. Hit yesterday for us, today for you guys in North America and in Europe. China developed the world's first quantum satellite, ready to be launched this July. Some interesting shit in this, because you go, quantum satellite, what the fuck is that? The first quantum communications satellite developed by China is expected to launch in July of this year. The Beijing-Shanghai quantum private communication line will also be opening in the second half of the year. Okay. This is, they're talking about, okay, hold on one second, guys. Shh. Guys, they're so noisy. I want to read you just a little bit of this because it fits into a whole lot of news we've been talking about over the last year. China started developing its quantum satellite in 2011 and launched the Quantum Optical Fiber Communications Network project, the Beijing-Shanghai line, in 2013. Oh, is that when Snowden came out public? The Beijing-Shanghai Quantum Private Communication Line will cover a total length of over 2,000 kilometers, connecting a network of numerous cities, including Beijing, Jinan, Hefei, and Shanghai. It will be the world's first wide area optic fiber quantum private network. Now, in and of itself, quantum communications and quantum communication satellites makes you go, oh, really? What are they up to? A quantum fiber private network, i.e. something that is completely and totally unhackable? Very, very interesting. The reason it's very, very interesting is because the cities mentioned here, it says numerous cities including, so this is not an exclusive list of cities, Beijing, Jinan, Hefei, and Shanghai. There's something else that all these cities have in common besides just communications. They all house China's supercomputers, amongst other cities that are all in the same area. Now, China has the #1 supercomputers in the world, much to the dismay of the United States. Yes, they do. Their latest one, which just started up last year, retook top spot again and is considerably in the top spot. So let's review a little bit of history though. Remember in August, we did a big, huge special report on the explosions in Tianjin, China. Alternative media went nuts because it was like, was it a rod from God? Was it nuclear? Was it a pony nuke? And you had, oh, it was a chemical explosion. And we all looked at the blast radius and the damage and went, yeah, that wasn't just a little chemical explosion. There's no fucking way that that was a chemical explosion. And one of the things that I covered was that in Tianjin is where China's older supercomputer that was world #1 until just a year ago was housed in Tianjin. This is the second fastest computer in the world. And when the blast happened, the supercomputer dropped offline and they literally China locked down everything around it to make sure it was safe. I went on a little research today because when you see this kind of stuff, you go, oh, supercomputers being networked together to form a quantum communications. So we're going to take a little look-see, right? So first we're going to look at this. Let's look at explosions in China, a little historical outlook here, just for the last few months. So we have on August 12th in Tianjin, we have 2 chemical explosions, because we all know they weren't. Now, 2 days after that, in Liaoning province, there is another massive chemical explosion that gets kind of reported on, and then no one talks about it. This one is just kind of, if you can imagine, there's Beijing, here's Tianjin. It was just over here. August 23rd, there's another chemical plant explosion in Shandong, China. What does Shandong have? Oh, a supercomputer. Okay, so let's jump forward. November 17th, in Liaoning province, there's another chemical explosion. Then in December 21st, in Shenzhen, and we're going to talk about this a little more, Shenzhen, there's a massive mudslide that causes a horrific natural gas explosion on December 21st, 2015. This mudslide takes out entire industrial complexes, massive natural gas explosions, and they have no idea what triggered the mudslide. It just happened out of nowhere. December 24th, so 3 days later, there is an explosion at an oil refinery in Guangzhou. Oh, what do they also have? A supercomputer. January 9th this year in Hunan, there's another chemical plant explosion. What do they have? A supercomputer. Are you seeing the pattern here? So basically in China, with the exception of one site, which is quasi under construction. I haven't been able to get any information. I've only had like 4 hours to really do the research on this. So I haven't been able to track it down yet if that's operational. It is a scheduled site for a supercomputer. That is the only one that I can find that hasn't had an explosion in the last 6 months. Okay, so let's take a look at the picture. Here we are. We have Beijing right there with a supercomputer. Tianjin with a supercomputer. There's Jinan, which is also one of the cities mentioned that will be linked with this. What do they have? Oh, supercomputer. Hefei also has a supercomputer. Shanghai has a supercomputer. Hunan has a supercomputer. Guangzhou has a supercomputer. Now, all of these are all going to be linked right down into the Shenzhen. Now, what else is Shenzhen really noted for that we've talked about a lot in the last year? The Shenzhen Gold Exchange, which is now the world's largest physical gold exchange. And when the London Gold Fix came to a close, where did it move? It moved to Shenzhen. So we have a completely private, unhackable quantum communication fiber optic lines linking all these cities together that will be linked up then with a quantum communication satellite, 2 of them actually, with it. One's being launched, one is about to be launched in 6 months' time. And we have a whole shitload of chemical explosions and oil refinery explosions and mysterious mudslides that cause natural gas explosions. And they've all happened in exactly the areas where this quantum communications is going to be taking place. Now, to go into, that's just the political. Let's just look at the geopolitical, because we all know the United States did this and their allies, right? We all know that Tianjin was caused by the States, and it was part of the economic warfare of what was going off because, oh, China depegged from the yuan, right? So follow this through a little further. If you have some of the world's most powerful supercomputers being networked together by quantum communication lines that are now unhackable. What are they playing with? Besides privacy. I mean, just besides privacy of obviously the Shenzhen gold exchange, etc., being super, super secure. Oh, and all these computers are also linked not only to the various scientific departments, but also the military complex and the banking complex in China. So what do you have? One of the things I've talked about for a long time, we're going to go into the woo-woo here, artificial intelligence. And my favorite authors, Robert Heinlein and his Mike, Artificial Intelligence from the Moon is a Harsh Mistress, that just came about organically because they just kept hooking computers together, and the networks of connections became equivalent to the human neural network in the brain, and all of a sudden the computer woke up. Is that what they're trying to do? Are they trying to hook together all these supercomputers now in an untraceable, unhackable line of communications? Is it just communications? Is there more to this? I am going to be doing more rabbit hole jumping on this because I find it very, very, very interesting that this information is coming up right now. So yeah, it wasn't the news report I thought I'd be giving for my first Transpicuous news out in the land of Oz, but it's very relevant and it's very interesting to me. We'll have to see where this goes. Hold on a second, guys. I'm going to figure out how to stop sharing the screen. Now, I don't know. Does anyone have any questions? If you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute and jump in here. We're doing Transpicuous News with a live audience. Yes, we are. Just for fun. Yeah. So many connections. So many connections seem to be just connecting right now. And with SWIFT being highly susceptible to being hacked, SWIFT and banking SWIFT, so interbank transfers, communication network, and the Russians have been talking about it and the Chinese are talking about it, setting up their own interbanking network. I don't know, kind of a interesting little bit of secure communications. Huh? What do you think? Anyways, guys, that's all I have to say on this report. Like I said, it's just going to be a short one, just one little one. I have a lot more to say on a lot more topics. I've just been really, really swamped since we've touched down here. And yeah, really, really swamped. We have a fuck of a lot of shit on the go at the moment. So I will be back again very soon with another Transpicuous News update because I have a lot of things to say. Until then, I'll see you later, guys. Bye.